Hey everyone, ready to dive deep. Today we're tackling a topic that I think we're all kind of fascinated by, even if we don't always admit it.
Oh, yeah.
Cheating death. We're going deep into one source today, death part6.pdf, and let me tell you, it is packed with wild stories, ancient practices, and even some modern-day thinkers weighing in on life, death, and what might lie beyond.
It's interesting. The source doesn't just sort of fantasize about immortality. It
Right.
actually grapples with the question, like, is escaping death even possible?
Right, and if it is possible, what does that even look like?
Yeah.
And the source, it starts by, I guess you could say, throwing a little cold water on this idea
Uh-huh.
that we can totally sidestep death, like completely avoid it,
Right.
suggesting that maybe the best we can hope for is postponing it.
That makes you wonder then, what does cheating death even mean?
Yeah.
Is it about literally living forever, or is there, like, a deeper meaning there?
Right.
The source seems to be hinting that maybe true victory over death
But-
is more about conquering our fear of it
Oh, I love that.
rather than, actually achieving physical immortality.
I love that idea. It's like maybe the goal isn't to never die, but to live so fully that we're
Right.
not afraid of what comes next.
Exactly.
And speaking of defying death, the source shares this incredible story about a man in Coimbatore, India.
Okay.
His horoscope predicted his death, but get this,
Oh, wow.
he's still alive today.
Those are the kind of stories that really get you thinking.
Right.
Like, are there things we can do
Yeah.
or practices that can actually influence our fate?
Yeah.
His horoscope predicted his death, but maybe something he did
Yeah.
consciously or unconsciously
Yeah.
shifted his energy, changed his life.
It's almost as if we have more power than we realize.
Right.
And the source also mentions these ancient rituals,
Uh-huh.
like the Mrityunjaya mantra and Homa, which are believed to,
Oh, yeah.
grant victory over death. These rituals involve chanting specific mantras, making offerings into a sacred fire.
Yeah.
They've been practiced for centuries in India,
Yeah.
aimed at overcoming obstacles, including death itself.
Now, you gotta wonder, if these rituals truly guaranteed immortality,
Yeah.
we'd have seen some pretty solid evidence by now, wouldn't we?
You think, right?
So maybe the real benefit of these rituals
Yeah.
lies in the transformation they offer, helping people overcome that fear of death
Yeah.
and live more fully
In the moment.
in the present moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes you think maybe it's not about literal immortality,
Right.
but achieving that inner peace,
Uh-huh.
acceptance,
Yeah.
allows us to embrace life and death without fear.
It's a fascinating perspective.
It really is.
The source also gets into the power of practices like samadhi,
Yeah.
that state of deep meditative absorption,
Yeah.
where the mind becomes still,
Right.
and the practitioner experiences this profound sense of unity,
It sounds almost like transcendent.
hitting the pause button on life.
Right, exactly.
The source talks about Shirdi Sai Baba, an Indian saint
Sure.
who allegedly entered samadhi to overcome a severe asthma attack.
Wow.
He went into this deep meditative state
Uh-huh.
and was able to avert death, essentially,
Yeah.
by slowing down his bodily processes.
What's fascinating about samadhi
Yeah.
is how it can distort the practitioner's perception of time.
Oh,
So you slow down his bodily functions,
Uh-huh.
and it's possible to experience time differently.
Okay.
So what might seem like years to us
Right.
could feel like a much shorter period
To the person in samadhi.
to the person in samadhi. Yeah.
So it's not just about cheating death. It's about
Yeah,
potentially experiencing time in a completely different way.
absolutely.
And then the source goes into some incredible anecdotes about Sadhguru,
Okay.
a modern-day yogi and mystic.
Mm-hmm.
There's this one story where he seemingly prevented the death of a brahmachari.
Very mature.
Yeah, dedicated student
Okay.
who had been bitten by a snake.
So a brahmachari is someone who has, dedicated their life to spiritual pursuits.
Right.
And in this case, Sadhguru simply declared that the student wouldn't die because of the snake bite,
And he survived.
and incredibly, he survived.
That's wild. Makes you wonder if there's some kind of
Right.
energetic connection
Yeah.
at play there.
Sadhguru was able to tap into this deeper level of reality
Yeah.
where life and death aren't as fixed,
Mhm.
as absolute as
Right.
we might think.
It's almost like bending the rules of
Yeah.
reality as we know them.
The source seems to suggest
Yeah.
that individuals with a certain level of spiritual mastery
Uh-huh.
might be able to influence prana, that vital life force,
Right.
not only in themselves, but in others as well.
And speaking of pushing limits,
Mm-hmm.
the source also talks about the
Yeah.
intense strain Sadhguru experiences during these advanced spiritual programs,
Uh-huh.
where he's acting as a sort of energetic anchor
Right, yeah.
for the participants.
Mm-hmm.
It even describes how he developed physical lumps on his spine
Ah.
as a result of this intense energy work.
It really highlights the idea that, manipulating prana,
Yeah.
this life force energy,
Yeah,
isn't just some parlor trick.
right.
It requires an incredible level of focus,
Uh-huh.
control,
Yeah.
and even physical endurance.
It makes you wonder what the human body is capable of.
It really does.
But what about actually bringing someone back from the dead? That's something that's always captured the imagination.
Yeah.
And the source dives right into this.
It's interesting. It makes a distinction between actually reviving a corpse
Right.
and the kind of metaphorical raising of the dead
Uh-huh.
that happens through spiritual awakening.
Okay.
Most people, the source argues, live in a state of unconsciousness,
Right.
going through the motions
Yeah.
without truly being awake to their own potential.
So they're sleepwalking.
Yeah,
Deep
exactly.
planning.
And the spiritual process is about jolting them awake,
Right.
helping them realize those possibilities within.
And on that note, the source shares this kind of humorous anecdote
Okay.
about Sadhguru being asked about raising the dead in the United States. His response:
Yeah.
"Why would I do such a stupid thing?"
Oh, wow.
Sounds like he's not too keen on messing with the natural order of things.
Right. I think it's more about
Yeah.
highlighting the absurdity
Yeah.
of trying to control life and death on a large scale.
Right.
Imagine the chaos.
It would be pandemonium.
Everyone who ever died
Oh my gosh.
coming back.
It would be
Total chaos.
total pandemonium. Yeah.
But what about those documented cases
Okay.
of people seemingly coming back
Yeah.
after being declared dead?
Mm.
The source mentions the Lazarus phenomenon,
Right.
a medical term for this very thing.
It's important to remember, though,
Yeah.
the source isn't presenting these as true revivals.
In the sense of someone dying and being fully restored,
Right.
it's more about exploring this idea
Yeah.
that prana, the life force,
Uh-huh.
might linger for a bit longer in certain cases,
Okay.
especially when death is caused by, say, a snake bite.
So maybe there's a window, a
Right.
chance to intervene
Before it completely dissipates.
before the life force dissipates. Yeah.
The source even recounts Sadhguru's own experience
Oh.
reviving a cobra bite,
Yeah.
emphasizing how the withdrawal of prana, in these cases,
Mhm.
can be a slow process.
Like the life force is reluctant to leave.
Almost, yeah.
Okay.
Creating a space for intervention,
Wow.
whether it's through medical treatment or
Yeah.
some kind of energetic manipulation.
That's incredible.
Now, get ready for this.
Okay.
The source takes us into the realm of tantric practices,
Right.
specifically the idea of making a corpse walk.
Okay, this sounds like a horror movie.
It does, but the source approaches it from a purely factual perspective.
Okay.
So, from the tantric viewpoint,
Uh-huh.
the life process doesn't just end at the moment of medical death.
Okay.
There's still residual energy present.
Mhm.
And according to tantric traditions, this energy can be manipulated.
Wow.
The source even mentions accounts of corpses on funeral pyres
Oh.
being made to walk.
I have to admit, that's fascinating and creepy.
It is.
At the same time.
But it's important to understand this isn't about bringing the dead back to life,
Okay.
in the way we might imagine.
Right.
It's about harnessing that remaining energy for specific purposes, often related to occult practices.
So not restoring consciousness
Right. Not about that.
or personality.
No, it's about tapping into that residual life force
Okay.
for ritualistic purposes.
The source connects this to animal sacrifices
Uh-huh.
and the use of freshly dead bodies
Mm-hmm.
in tantric and agori practices,
Right.
suggesting these traditions aim to use that raw energy.
Yeah.
The agoris are a fascinating group.
They are.
Often misunderstood.
Uh-huh.
They engage in practices that most people would find shocking,
Yeah, definitely.
but they're ultimately seeking liberation
Yeah.
from the cycle of birth and death
Mm-hmm.
by confronting the taboo
Right.
and embracing the totality of existence.
It might seem like something out of a horror movie,
Yeah.
but the source presents it as a matter-of-fact aspect of
Okay.
these traditions,
Right.
highlighting the belief that death isn't instantaneous.
Right.
It's a gradual process
Oh.
with that lingering energy
Mm.
that can potentially be manipulated.
So death might be more of a transition
Yeah,
than a hard stop.
exactly.
And speaking of pushing boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
let's jump from walking corpses,
Oh, wow.
to a modern concept that's gaining traction, cryogenic freezing.
Okay.
The idea is to preserve bodies at these extremely low temperatures
Yeah.
with the hope of reviving them in the future.
Right, when technology has advanced.
When technology has advanced enough to cure whatever caused their death.
Now, the source doesn't hold back on this one.
Oh, really?
Calls it absolute stupidity and immaturity.
Wow.
It argues that even if technology could revive a frozen body,
Yeah.
the original consciousness wouldn't be there.
So you might end up with a functioning body,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't be you.
It wouldn't be you inhabiting it. And
Oh, right.
it's like keeping organs alive outside the body. The person, the essence of who they were is gone.
Right.
The source is emphasizing that consciousness
Yeah.
isn't something you can just reboot
Right.
like a computer program.
Right.
It's intricately connected to the life force, to the experiences that shape us.
It's a sobering thought
It is.
that even if we conquer death physically,
Yeah.
we might still lose what makes us us.
Exactly. It makes you question what's the point of immortality, even if it means sacrificing our identity.
Our sense of self.
Yeah.
Okay, deep divers, buckle up. We're entering some truly mind-bending territory.
Okay.
Transmigration, the concept of a soul or consciousness entering another body.
This is a concept that pops up in so many cultures.
Right.
Eastern traditions, Native American traditions.
Yeah.
The source specifically mentions parakaya pravesha,
Okay.
which in Sanskrit means entering another body.
Wow.
And it's considered one of the 8 great cities.
For those unfamiliar,
Yeah.
a siddhi is a supernatural power or ability achieved through spiritual practices.
It's like reaching this level of mastery
Yeah.
where the laws of reality as we know them become more flexible.
Right.
And the source shares some remarkable stories to illustrate this concept. One of the most famous is the story of Adi Shankara.
Oh, this story's wild.
It is.
It involves him temporarily leaving his body to enter that of a recently deceased king. And the reason he did this is pretty surprising.
So he wanted to gain experiential knowledge.
Okay, of sexuality.
Wait, he left his body to learn about sex?
Yeah.
That's pretty out there.
It might sound strange.
Yeah.
But the story goes, he was in a debate with a scholar's wife.
Okay.
Who challenged his understanding of sexuality, implying he lacked practical experience.
Right.
So, to prove her wrong,
Yeah.
he decided to temporarily inhabit the body of a king who had just died.
It's like something out of a movie.
It is, and things get even crazier when the people around this king realized that something was different.
Okay.
It wasn't actually their king inhabiting the body.
So they suspected that someone else had taken over.
They did.
Okay.
And they decided to take drastic measures.
What did they do?
They sent soldiers to find and burn any dead bodies.
Oh my God.
In the area.
Wow.
Hoping to trap whoever was now inhabiting the king.
And they almost succeeded in burning Shankara's original body.
They almost did.
It was only because he sensed the danger.
Right. And quickly returned to his own body.
Just in time.
That he survived.
This story highlights the idea that while transmigration might be possible, it's not without its risks and complexities.
Right. It also makes you think about the ethics of using these abilities.
It does raise questions about, are there certain boundaries we shouldn't cross?
Even if we have the power.
Even if we have the power. And the source doesn't just focus on Shankara's story.
Okay.
It also shares this tale of Thirumular, another yogi who, out of compassion, decided to enter the body of a deceased herder.
Oh, well, why?
To comfort a grieving herd of cows.
That's so touching.
It is.
He saw these cows mourning their herder.
Yeah.
And out of empathy, decided to help.
And in a twist of fate, when Thirumular tried to return to his own body, he found that it was gone.
Oh, my gosh.
He ended up living the rest of his life in the herder's body, composing these thousands of spiritual hymns.
So he traded one life for another?
He did.
Out of compassion.
All out of compassion.
That is mind-blowing.
It really is.
But are these stories meant to be taken literally?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
The source acknowledges the possibility of transmigration, but clarifies that it's considered more of an occult practice than a purely spiritual achievement.
So it might be attainable.
Right.
but not necessarily the ultimate goal
Not the end goal, no.
of spiritual seeking.
It's more about exploring the potential of consciousness
Okay.
and the nature of reality than just body hopping.
So it's about expanding our understanding of what's possible.
Yeah.
Not about clinging to this physical existence.
Exactly.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
From ancient rituals, near-death experiences, to these mind-boggling stories of transmigration.
Fascinating stuff.
But there's so much more to explore.
Oh, yeah.
Stay tuned, because in the next part, we'll dive into why we even seek immortality.
Good question.
Is it just fear of death?
Yeah.
Or is there something deeper?
Can't wait to find out.
This deep dive is about to get even more fascinating.
It always does. Welcome back, everyone, as we go deeper into this exploration of cheating death. You know?
Yeah.
Let's kind of shift our focus to why we're even drawn to immortality in the first place.
Right.
Is it just fear of the unknown?
Yeah.
A reluctance to let go of this life?
The source actually challenges that assumption.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it points out it's not always those who are unhappy or suffering who cling to life the most.
Interesting. So what are they saying then?
Well, they're saying that those who've truly embraced life, who've experienced deep joy and fulfillment, are often the most ready to let go. There's this line in the source that really hit me.
What is it?
Happy people are loosely attached to life. They're willing to drop off at any time.
It's like they've savored life, and they're at peace with the natural cycle.
Exactly. It suggests that maybe this desperate desire for endless life comes from a sense of incompleteness.
Like we haven't fully lived, haven't truly experienced all that we could.
Right. Makes you think if our pursuit of immortality is driven by fear, or a genuine longing for something more.
Or something more.
And speaking of longing, the source uses this analogy to illustrate why clinging to this life, even a good one, might not be all it's cracked up to be. Imagine watching your favorite movie over and over again.
At first, you'd be captivated, right? Reliving those moments, feeling all the emotions. But eventually, the novelty would wear off. You'd start to see it as a carefully crafted illusion. A projection of light and sound.
The magic fades, and you're left with just the mechanics behind it.
The source takes it a step further.
Oh, yeah.
Imagines you being taken into the projector room, seeing the gears and bulbs.
That create the illusion.
That create the illusion,
That's a powerful metaphor.
It is.
For how we might be limiting ourselves.
Right.
By clinging to this one reality, this one lifetime.
What if there's a much grander projector room?
Right.
A reality beyond what we currently understand.
It really makes you wonder.
It does.
If true fulfillment lies not in endlessly repeating this life, but in awakening to a much vaster dimension of existence.
A much vaster dimension.
And the source hints that this awakening might not be something we can achieve through sheer willpower or even technology.
Interesting.
Requires a shift in consciousness.
A letting go.
A letting go of our attachment to the familiar.
Now, the source addresses a question I think a lot of us have pondered. If my life is going well, why not continue this endlessly?
Right.
What's wrong with that?
It's a valid question.
It is.
If things are good, why seek something else?
The source offers a pretty interesting answer. It suggests that the very nature of our being is to evolve, to explore new dimensions.
Right, like we're hardwired.
Yes.
To seek something beyond the limitations. Beyond the limitations.
Even if that existence is seemingly perfect.
Think of it like this. Staying in the same grade year after year.
Right.
Might feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But you're not really learning or growing.
Right.
There's a whole world waiting.
Beyond that classroom.
Beyond that classroom,
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
It makes you think, are we holding ourselves back? By clinging to this one life?
Even a good one?
Even a good one. But wouldn't it be amazing to live for hundreds of years? Accumulating wisdom?
Accumulating wisdom.
It is.
The source doesn't seem totally opposed to that idea. But it makes a distinction between forcefully prolonging lifespan and supporting the body's natural potential through practices like yoga, meditation.
The source mentions the yogic belief that humans can naturally live up to 160 years.
Wow.
If they care for their bodies and minds.
So it's not about artificially extending life.
Right.
But optimizing our inherent capacity.
Our inherent capacity, exactly.
For longevity.
But the source cautions against just extending life without engaging in spiritual practices.
Without that inner growth.
Without that inner growth.
Okay.
It's like having powerful hardware, but no software.
Right.
You might have a long lifespan, but without that inner transformation, it wouldn't be a truly fulfilling experience.
Right. It even compares extending life without sadhana.
Without spiritual practice to living like a ghost.
Oh, wow.
Occupying space, consuming resources.
But not truly being present.
Not truly being present.
Like a Walking Dead scenario.
Yeah.
Minus the flesh eating.
Exactly. The message is clear.
What is it?
It's not just about the quantity of life,
right,
but the quality of being.
So desiring a long life isn't wrong.
No, not at all.
But the source encourages us to think.
About why.
About why we want it.
Why we want that longevity.
Is it about accumulating more time?
Yeah.
Or deepening our experience?
Deepening our experience of life.
And on that note,
the
source brings up another modern development.
That
promises extended lifespans.
What's that?
The idea of replacing aging organs with lab-grown ones.
Oh, wow. Like new organs.
Brand new organs.
Yeah.
It describes how some people are already making contracts.
Really?
For future organ replacements. Envisioning themselves living for centuries.
It's like science fiction becoming reality.
It sounds incredible.
Yeah.
But also a little unsettling.
The source expresses some concern about that.
Oh, really?
That focusing solely on physical longevity without cultivating inner growth could lead to a society of people who are essentially empty shells.
Imagine a world filled with people who are physically immortal, but lack depth, wisdom, compassion.
It makes you question what it means to be human.
It makes you wonder if we're focusing on the wrong things.
Maybe.
Maybe true progress isn't about conquering death physically, but about evolving our consciousness.
Evolving our understanding of life itself.
And the source leaves us with this powerful question.
Oh, I like those.
Is life an account book or a phenomenon of experience?
Ooh, that's a good one.
If life is just about keeping score, how long we live, how much we accumulate, then maybe extending lifespan is the ultimate goal. But if it's about expanding our consciousness, experiencing the fullness of existence, then the focus shifts to inner transformation.
Regardless of how many years we have.
Regardless of how many years, it's a profound question.
It is.
It really makes you reevaluate your priorities.
That makes you think what truly matters.
This whole deep dive has really got me thinking. Rethinking my perspective on life and death.
It's not just about how long we live.
It's how we live.
It's how we live,
Let's take a moment to let these ideas sink in.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll explore the source's final thoughts on transcending this life.
Transcending this life.
And embracing the vastness beyond. So we've covered so much in this deep dive.
We have.
Ancient practices, mind-boggling stories, and those thought-provoking questions about life and death and what might lie beyond.
What might be next.
And the source leaves us with one final question to ponder. If my life is going well, why not continue this endlessly? It gets to the heart of why we're so fascinated by this idea of cheating death.
It's a natural question to ask, isn't it?
It really is.
If things are good, why not want them to keep going? But the source's answer, it might surprise you. It goes beyond just wanting to avoid suffering or clinging to pleasure. It suggests a deeper longing to go beyond the limits of our current existence, to experience something more expansive, more profound.
So it's not just about things being good or bad in this life. It's about recognizing that there might be even greater possibilities out there.
Possibilities we can't even grasp right now.
Beyond what we can currently grasp. It's almost like we're peeking through a keyhole and getting these glimpses of something vast and mysterious.
On the other side.
On the other side, exactly.
The source uses this analogy of a bubble to describe our limited perception. We're trapped in this bubble of memory and experience, constantly replaying those same patterns, those same stories. True fulfillment, the source suggests, comes from bursting that bubble.
Wow.
From merging with something larger than ourselves.
That's a powerful image.
It is.
Breaking free from those limitations.
Makes you wonder what we might experience if we could just let go of those attachments.
To this one reality.
To this one reality, this one lifetime.
The source seems to be saying, we have the potential to experience something far more vast, far more awe-inspiring
than we can imagine right now.
Than we can even imagine, yeah.
But accessing that reality, it requires a shift, a willingness to let go of our familiar ways of seeing the world.
It's like we're standing at the edge of this uncharted ocean, hesitant to dive in.
Afraid of what we might find.
Afraid of what we might find, exactly.
But what if what we find is more beautiful, more wondrous than anything we could have dreamed of?
That's the invitation, isn't it?
It is, to explore. To go beyond what we currently understand.
Embrace the mystery.
Embrace that mystery, yeah.
This deep dive has been quite a journey.
It has.
Ancient traditions, mind-boggling stories,
yeah.
Concepts that challenge how we understand life and death.
We've seen how the desire to cheat death might come from that fear of the unknown, that reluctance to let go of the familiar.
But we've also glimpsed something greater.
Something greater.
A reality beyond our current perception.
Yeah.
If there's one key takeaway, it's that true fulfillment, it doesn't come from clinging to this one life.
Right.
But from embracing that journey of evolution.
Evolution, yeah.
Expanding our consciousness.
Exploring those infinite possibilities.
Exploring those possibilities beyond our current understanding.
Exactly.
As the Source reminds us, it's not about escaping suffering or chasing pleasure.
It's about awakening.
It's about awakening to who we truly are.
To who we truly are.
Realizing our potential.
Realizing our potential, yeah.
As we wrap up this deep dive,
I
encourage you to keep pondering these questions. What does it truly mean to live well? And is there something more to existence than what we can see and comprehend right now?
Those are good questions to sit with.
The answers might surprise you.
They might.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
Keep diving deep.
The adventure is just beginning.
And remember, the most important thing is to live fully.
To experience the richness of this life.
However long it lasts.
Exactly.
Catch you on our next deep dive.